Okay, at this time I'm having a lift back home by a brother of mine, Brother Marcus, and I'm just going to ask him some questions about Daniel, and I'm sure the answers that he gives will benefit us in our understanding of the book as a whole. I mean, you can just watch this in a little while and see how it looks. Okay then, Marcus, why do you think that Daniel had such a solid experience in Babylon?
Well, from what he saw is the point where it changed, and from what I saw is where he actually purposed in his heart when there was so much a time of despair around him and hopelessness. But from even then, he just purposed in his heart that he would serve the living God.
Okay, when do you think that he purposed in his heart? At what point in his experience do you think that he purposed in his heart that he wasn't going to go against the will of the Most High and compromise his faith?
On the way to Babylon.
Okay, so in between his journey from Judah to Babylon, Daniel purposed in his heart that he wouldn't basically compromise his faith, comes what may. Okay, anything else about Daniel that you can share with us that we can basically learn from? What kind of man was Daniel?
Well, we see what Daniel was like when he says, "No, I'm not eating the king's meat and I'm not drinking what the king has to offer."
Okay, let me stop you there. Is that a sign of rebellion or is it something different? Him saying, "I'm not going to eat from the king's table," could that be seen or interpreted as a sign of rebellion?
No, it's following from what the text said, is that he purposed in his heart. Now, what Christ said was that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So from something that was purposed in his heart, it's something that was just natural and outcoming. Now, to somebody who does not know God, that would be almost, should I say, you'd look up to that person because they're standing for the rights. It's not something that's wrong.
Okay, we know that Melzar favoured Daniel, and probably that was something to do with it, the fact that Daniel was a man of principle and wasn't willing to compromise. So Daniel, to a certain degree, not wanting to eat from the king's table, do you think that he may have been seen to be going against certain laws of the land? Is there a time when it's okay for a Christian to go against the law of the land? Or regarding the law of the land, should Christians abide by the law of the land? And is there ever an occasion where they ought not to?
No, but like with that, we see that Christ says, "Yeah, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." As far as the laws of the land, don't touch on what is being purposed in your heart. Now the thing is what are we purposing in our heart? Jesus said, "Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee." Now, taking that into context, in seeing what Daniel's done, we saw in the rest of his life, he followed everything. The king put him over various matters, more or less second in command to the ruling of the kingdom. So he must have been abiding by the laws of the land for him to do that.
Okay. Was Daniel a man of prayer? And how can he obviously was a man of prayer, should I say. What can we learn from his prayer life? Is there anything that you can say about his prayer life that we can draw lessons from and maybe apply in our own personal prayer experience?
Yeah, most definitely. You said he purposed in his heart, but we see in Daniel chapter 6 and 3, he wasn't ashamed. He opened up the windows to pray, even when it was in danger of his life. He always sought to seek the Lord in prayer. But also with Daniel seeking the Lord in prayer, it was something that was outplayed in his life. You knew he was a man of prayer because of the life that he had. He was delivered from the lion's den. God gave him visions and dreams. But also in the fact of when he didn't understand something, we see straight away what Daniel did. He fasted. He fasted until he got answers, until he could hear God's voice, until he could hear what God had to say. And we see what God did. God sent his angel. He said, even whilst I was praying, Gabriel said he was sent.
Okay, so we can learn, one thing that we can learn, something that you've pointed out quite clearly, that fasting ought to be included in our prayer life. Now, quickly before we finish the video, please describe to me what you feel that fasting, the correct way to fast is, because there's a lot of opinions regarding fasting. So what is the true fast?
The true fast is we see it in Isaiah 58, and God says to loose the wickedness and the bonds of slavery to people who are in sin, the poor, those that are naked, those that have no food, those that need the true spiritual food of Jesus Christ in their life. Are we really doing that? Are we going out and doing what God asks us to do, which is in call on His name?
So
help these people?
Fasting isn't just abstaining from food. It's more. It's far more than that.
It's far more than that.
Okay, then we've been going for around 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share on Daniel and his character that you think are relevant to people who may watch this video?
Yeah, it's that even that same verse that we talked about, and Daniel purposing in his heart. Ask God to let you purpose in your heart to follow Him. If there's something in the way, look to the cross of Jesus Christ. If there's nothing else, that will make you purpose in your heart to follow Him. Like that, when you see God's love, His selfless love, that what He went to purchase you with all your sin, how you are and what you're doing, that's how that will spring up, and you will truly abide in the shadow of the Almighty. Okay then, Marcus, thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts, and thanks a lot for the lift home. I hope you've been blessed by that which He has said, and we're praying for you as you hopefully are praying for us.